Okay, good morning, everyone. Today is September 20, 2023, and this is the morning session of the Portland City Council meeting. And you may start recording. Thank you.
Good morning. Gonzalez.
Here.
Maps.
Here.
Rubio.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Wheeler.
Okay, now we will hear from the city attorney.
Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with city council can be found at the council clerk's webpage. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during city council meetings. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. A timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Your testimony today should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Disclose if you are a lobbyist, and if you are representing an organization, please identify it. For testifiers joining virtually, please unmute yourself once the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that. First up is communication. So Keelan, could you please call the first item?
Item 780, request of Jeannie Conant to address council regarding housing. Jeannie Conant? Okay, I don't think they've arrived.
Let's move to the next one.
Item 781, request of Kara Hamilton to address council regarding transportation justice and traffic safety. Kara's joining us online.
Thank you. Good morning, councilors. My name is Kara Hamilton. I'm a resident of Southeast Portland. I've been primarily commuting by bike and bus since 2022 when my car was totaled by a drunk driver while parked on Southeast Milwaukee Avenue. But I'm here today for Jeannie Diaz, who, as you know, was killed by a drunk driver while waiting on the sidewalk for a bus at the corner of Southeast Taylor and Cesar Chavez. I'm here because I don't want this to happen to anyone ever again. I'm also here because my partner was Jeannie's friend and colleague at Belmont Library. Imagine for a moment what it's like to not only lose your friend, but then to have to see the place she died every single day you go to work. My partner also commutes by bike. For weeks after Jeannie was killed, he avoided Taylor on his daily commute so that he didn't have to cross that intersection. However, there are very few places on Chavez that are safe for cyclists to cross. So he had to choose between putting himself in an unsafe situation or being even more traumatized every time he went to work. Cesar Chavez is not safe. I personally have been honked at while walking on the sidewalks because they're so narrow, there's almost no separation from traffic. I'm asking you to direct PBOT to implement changes to actually make streets safe for everyone. Specific changes I'd like to see to Chavez include wider sidewalks and reduced speeds, particularly adjacent to the library. So many children and vulnerable people use libraries. We should treat them the same way we would a school. However, as much as I want to see these changes to Chavez in particular, I know that many neighborhoods in Portland still lack sidewalks and bike networks, which is why we need to lead with equity so that people who have been pushed out of the urban core also have access to alternate modes. This is also why I want to uplift the asks from Oregon Walks and Bike Loud for a regional interagency fatal crash task force and for hardened pedestrian and bike infrastructure throughout Portland, which I know you plan to respond to, Councilor Maps. I imagine you are under immense pressure from constituents who want you to reduce trip times for cars. The way to do that is to not remove protective bike lanes, but to continue to invest in complete hardened pedestrian transit and bike infrastructure so that alternate modes feel safe and accessible for people who currently depend on cars, and so we can ultimately get more cars off the road. Enforcement and paint are not enough. Just this August, I was almost hit while in the bike lane crossing Grand from Southeast Madison. The car that almost hit me was a police cruiser. These changes are not only a necessity to prevent traffic deaths, but to address the climate crisis. Although the city has acknowledged the crisis and committed to cutting emissions, we are nowhere close to our goal of cutting emissions in half by 2035. Streets are one of our biggest public assets and they belong to everyone. It is our responsibility to act now for all the people just trying to get to where they need to go and for the children and future generations to come who deserve a safe future. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara. Next up.
Item 782, request of Chris Clarinomos to address council regarding safety and cleanliness.
Okay. Yes, please.
Hi, thank you all. My name is Chris Clarinomos.
Would you mind having a seat and
No.
pulling the microphone up to you?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name's Chris Clarinomos. My wife and I just moved in and purchased a home in the Northwest District about 6 months ago, investing a lot of money in rehabbing that house. And now we spend the majority of our time either terrified or my wife sobbing that we're going to lose all our money. Okay? The burden that has been placed on each individual is real. And that's what I want to bring your attention to, the micro impact that it has on people. Not the big macro policy changes, real people. I don't know about you guys, I can't afford to lose all my money, right? This was supposed to be our retirement, urban living, empty nest, right? And it's not. It's a daily struggle. I've become the garbage man, the policeman, the social worker. 3 days ago, I had to physically remove 2 guys breaking into my house, okay? I really appreciate all the city workers, PBO, a whole bunch of people really trying to help us in our neighborhood. But ultimately, you know, no offense, the responsibility is on you guys. And by almost every metric, it's been a failure. Okay, and I would like to see a shift in attitude, and I recognize all of these are complex issues. We all do, right? But there has to be a shift in attitude. We've allowed 3,000 to 5,000 people overtake a city of almost 1 million. And that's all I hear about in the news, in council meetings, in problem solver meetings that I attend. What are we doing about our unhoused neighbors? What are we doing about mentally ill? What are we doing about addiction? I've not heard once somebody say, what are we doing to help Bob, Chris, Joe? Not one thing, right? And that has to change. It can't be my burden. I'm happy to participate, but this is a social contract, right? I pay my taxes in exchange for services. I agree to give up freedoms, right, to follow the rules. But why am I the only one that has to follow them? I now have less rights than the people causing the problems. Somebody dies on my property, I'm getting sued. I have to physically remove somebody, I'm getting sued. I, don't want people shooting up or my dog inhaling fentanyl. I'm getting criticized for being anti-whatever, okay? I'm a very liberal, progressive guy. I don't want to be the bad guy. You guys are making me the bad guy. And that's not okay, right? We need to be attracting businesses. We need to be attracting investors. We need to have clean, safe environments. You guys know all this, right? So my ask is a shift in attitude to emphasize the people who are paying and participating in this, and to really pay attention to the policies that are impacting people for real, because this can't continue. Okay? I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we have Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yeah, am I pronouncing it right? Clarinomos?
Yes, close enough. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your testimony. I was sharing with my colleagues, I participated in a town hall yesterday on the Measure 110 and the fentanyl crisis. And I listened for nearly an hour of what was right for the user from a variety of perspectives. And as policymakers, it is our responsibility to certainly consider the needs of those that are struggling with substance use disorder, that are suffering from behavioral health crisis, but they're not the only constituents here. And so I very much appreciate your testimony. Please continue to speak up. I wish that you didn't have to, but right now we need you to speak up. And this body recently approved by unanimous vote, ban on outdoor drug use. Unfortunately, we have to wait for the state legislature to allow us to enforce this. It's ridiculous. It's absurd.
Right.
But that's where we are in Oregon right now. We've also placed limitations on the time, place, and manner of camping. We know we're going to get sued over it. So we have to jump through a bunch of hoops before we actually enforce it. I wish it was being enforced right now. I understand from the mayor's team it's going to be a couple more weeks, but we know we're going to get sued. That is our reality as a city of Portland. I wish it weren't that way. We're pushing as hard as we can, but I just want to thank you for testifying.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah, thank you, Council President Rubio, and thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez. Chris, I wanted to look at you, there you are, We all hear what you're saying, and if the temperature check up here is in full agreement with everything you said. I also am a person that lives in a block that's had 2 grim incidents in the past week, and it happens at least once a month where a neighbor, including myself, has had such incidents. So we hear what you're saying. I want to ask you a question or maybe a request. We have to align the arrows with the other local entities and their policies, and that would be locally with the county, who has half of public safety, and also with the state. So I hope that you take this message also to your county commissioners and also to your state legislators and senators, because sometimes the city council is in our own little island, and if we're not rowing in the same direction with the other entities that we work with, it's really hard to have impact. So I really wish all Portlanders would know that, but it's not your fault. We have a big brand, so people come here and we need to always hear it and keep us focused. But I just wanted to ask you if you've been able to reach out to those constituents, those elected officials that represent you as well.
Yeah, I have not right this second. We've been working with Peebo a lot, Dakota Jackson from the mayor's office, Jackson Powell from your office, they've all been, Justin at the garbage. They've all been fantastic. Elizabeth, they've really been doing a great job. I hear the same thing from them, right? Even the district police have been really trying to participate with us. I mean, these things shouldn't be mutually exclusive. I'm happy to reach out and testify and bring the message elsewhere. We have a community group put together now. Yeah, if somebody could
It
point
just
me in
helps
the
if
right
all of us in the
direction,
elected bodies hear the same thing. And I just want to share the communication, if you will, with our colleagues, because we tend to be the entity that's sometimes leading the way on, I would say, knowing that those who are investing in Portland are constituents that are having a rough time because their invoices go up and their services go down. And the city hears that loud and clear all the time. And it just helps when you are able to share that message with our other entities as well. And that helps us all listen to one another and then again row in the same direction.
Yeah, that's great. I'm happy to do that.
Thanks so much
you.
for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Item 783, request of Todd Zarnitz to address council regarding Northwest District Association concerns about the lack of a Slabtown Park agreement.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for your time. So much appreciate it. My name is Todd, and I am the president of the Northwest District Association. The Northwest District was promised a park in Slabtown as a key part of the development of that area under the Conway Master Plan. The master plan gave the landowners and developers the rights to build massive apartment complexes, which they did do and are currently doing, with the understanding that a 1-acre parcel would become an urban park. And though the Conway Master Plan offers that acre of land to the city to create a park, it doesn't require the city to take it. And the city has not taken it. At the end of the year, the Conway Master Plan will sunset, and when the plan sunsets, so does the obligation for the park. The land reverts back to the base zoning, and the park disappears. If the city, for whatever reason, cannot fulfill its obligations under a plan that it itself helped develop and approved, it's unclear how any future city land development agreement can be taken seriously by anybody. The land in question is currently owned by Guardian Real Estate. Guardian has stated publicly that it wants to hand over the land to the city for the low, low price of $0. So why hasn't the city taken the land? Well, apparently Parks wants Guardian to remediate the land before offering it to the city, even though Guardian is not legally required to hand over the land in the first place, let alone for $0. And Guardian, along with the many other developers and landowners of Slabtown, have already paid Parks millions of dollars in system development charges known as SDCs. And 0 of these millions of dollars in SDCs collected have been reinvested in the Slabtown district, which is the purpose of the fees in the first place. If this land is not turned over to the city by the end of the year, anything can happen. Some possibilities include Guardian could do nothing with the land and it's just going to be an empty lot for a long time. Guardian could sell the land to a third party who would then have full legal rights to develop the land under the base zoning, which could mean they could put up apartments or office space there, where it should be a park. Or Guardian could develop the land themselves. For sure, Guardian can be made to look like the bad guy here, as they're not taking money out of their own account to fully remediate the land before handing it over to the city. However, we have to remember that they have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, which does not include spending money on public works projects. In fact, the directors could be sued by their own shareholders if that were to happen. That the city is refusing to take an acre of land in a dense urban neighborhood for free because the topsoil isn't pristine is, in our view, ridiculous. And if the city doesn't take the land for $0 by the end of the year, the opportunity for the park, as promised by its own master plan, can be lost forever. Please do not let our future park, Slabtown Park, disappear. The money has been collected via SDCs. The land is being offered for $0, and the clock expires at the end of the day on this December 31st. Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, Todd, thanks for being here. When you come and bring such things to my attention as a commissioner that oversees a bureau that was handed to me, it always helps to hear such details. I have looked into it. I'm really happy that, Brett, you're there. Will you raise your hand? I'd love it if you two talked after this. But what I know is that the property's transferred ownership several times in recent years. You probably know this too, right, Todd?
Yes.
And Guardian Real Estate Services is the current owner, as you explained so eloquently. And the Parks and Rec continues to negotiate with them in good faith. We, as I hear from the leadership at Parks and Rec, are still very optimistic that they'll get to a favorable resolution. And it really helps when there's advocates like you to keep us on our toes. So you and Brett, please talk, and let's figure this out.
Yeah, I think our concern is the deadline's approaching, and anything can happen.
You did the right thing at the right time. Thanks for being here.
Item 784, request of Don Bach to address council regarding Southwest Capitol Highway Rose Lane project. Don's joining us online. Don, you're muted.
Hi, this is Don Bach. I'm the 51-year resident of Hillsdale. Commissioners, I'm here to talk about some minor things because the report from PBOT on the Rose Lane was not available to comment on, which I was anticipating, so I'd like to talk about issues on Terwilliger and drinking fountains. Relatively minor compared to some of the things before you, but on the other hand, they're important. I signed up to talk, well, if that's okay, I think I have to ask permission if that's okay to proceed.
Yes, yeah, it's
Thank
fine.
you. Anyway, Terwilliger is one of our city's premier places to drive, bike, walk. It was developed as a showplace to our city. It's also the only safe bicycle and pedestrian connection to downtown for 60,000 Southwest residents other than along the waterfront. We simply do not have sidewalks for people to walk for greater Southwest to OHSU, VA, or downtown. You can see on the photo here is an example of a street light, and you'll notice that this cone is bolted to the ground. Now that suggests to me that the PBOT isn't in great need of, or in very actively trying to replace this. This has been there, I think, for several years, at least one. And next photo, please. The key thing here is this is the only place people can walk downtown. Lighting is extremely important for safety of people and for their idea of, is it safe to get downtown even during, and walking home along Terwilliger. So, the issue here is it needs to be a higher priority. Photo 2, please. I've received, back one up. I've received comments from PBOT basically that they're fixing to do it by ordering budgets, ordering materials, and so on. I suspect that the priority needs to be jacked up a bit, folks. This is probably the most important walking fit place we have in Southwest Portland, and lighting is extremely important. That's the issue I'm trying to raise. Next photo. Third one, this is Parks, I believe. This guardrail has been missing for, again, years, and the yellow tape doesn't do much for safety. It's an eyesore. Little things like this really affect people's attitude towards the city in terms of, is the Parks Department incompetent? Are they basically don't care about our, pristine Terwilliger? It just needs to be addressed and fixed. Finally, I want to talk about drinking fountains. Next slide. First of all, I want to thank the Parks Department for getting the drinking fountain at Wells High School reinstated. It was after 5 years of not being able to use it. It's now usable. Thank you. This drinking fountain is inoperable. It was inoperable since last fall. What happened? The parks allowed campers to camp in the park. The campers used the drinking fountain, and when the parks turned it off, and they did turn it off, it got basically, if I may finish real quickly, it hasn't been repaired for a year, and this is a very key thing. This is the Rasbach Crossing Trail 3 and 6. Thank you very much.
Madam President, can I jump in here?
Yes, please.
Great, thank you. Dawn, thank you so much for taking time to testify before us today. I know you were eager to talk about the Capitol Highway and the Rose Lanes. And I appreciate your being cognizant of the fact that we're still gathering data on this. Let me give you a quick update. I think I've met with your group, certainly probably last spring even. I went out, did a tour to see some of your concerns about that infrastructure. I've asked PBOT to study the impact some of the recent infrastructure changes we've made in that space have had on how people move through this neighborhood. I am still waiting for the final report to come out, or at least reach my desk. But here's what I will do. It's not here yet, but here's what I will do. I think we have some preliminary results. I'll ask my office to reach out and connect with you by the end of next week, just to give you a sense of what our preliminary results say. I will also have my office connect with you about some of the transportation issues that you raised today. And frankly, this will be a good education opportunity. We'll have some transition in my office. I'll have a new person working on transportation starting on Monday. So I'll have Cynthia, who will be the new transportation person on my team, connect with you on her first week in office, both to give you a sense of what our preliminary data shows on the Rose Lane projects, and it'll also give you an opportunity to open up a dialogue with Cynthia around some of your other transportation concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you all for your testimony. So if that concludes our communication items, and if there are no other comments from my colleague, we'll move on to the time certain.
Item 785, appoint Jason Margulis as Creative Laureate for term to expire June 30, 2025, and extend term of Joaquin Lopez to June 30, 2024.
Here, this one. Good morning.
Morning. So Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Council President Rubio, and you're really connected to this next item as well. Colleagues, today it is with great pleasure and excitement that I have the honor of introducing two exceptional individuals who have made a significant contributions to our city's vibrant arts and cultural scene. As the Arts and Cultural Commissioner, it's my privilege to present to you the Creative Laureates who will continue to champion the artistic spirit of our beloved city. Firstly, I'd like to introduce the new Creative Laureate, Jason Margulis. There he is waving his hand. Our new Creative Laureate. Jason brings with him a deep passion for music and wealth of experience as an instrumental music teacher at Roosevelt High School, my alma mater. His journey from a young music enthusiast in Seattle to his instrumental music teaching career in Portland showcases his dedication to the art form and for our community. Jason's mission as Creative Laureate is to amplify our city's commitment to the arts and music, recognizing their profound role in healing and rejuvenating our beloved Portland. And I believe that Jason's tenure will usher in a new era of enhanced artistic engagement and appreciation for our residents, which really does start at the school level and in the neighborhoods and in communities. I believe I will just want to say a couple things, not on the script. Darian, sorry, I'll just add a few things. I met you because I go to Roosevelt sports ball events, because I do that even before now it's harder to go since I've had this gig, but I sure loved watching the evolution. I remember the first time I saw you, must have been 20 some years ago now.
Yeah.
You got a few people to play instruments, but you didn't have a middle school program.
Yeah.
And you told me then that your goal was to see the investments obviously go down into the middle school years. I think all of us were in school once. That's why everyone's an expert on public education. And it's that you had I love saying that you have a chance to really build that pipeline, as I say, because kids don't readily pick up an instrument in high school. We all know the brain thinks differently then. But if you can get them, like at the end of elementary school, blowing on things, beating on things, just expressing themselves, it begins a whole journey that allows them to really stay engaged in life and in school. And as a person that relied on arts and sports to stay focused, I'm a real enthusiast for that. So when I was thinking, when I have this role, you get to pick an arts laureate, it was just so important for me to find someone like you. So you're a great story. It's a story that needs to be amplified. And when you all won some awards over the last 2 years, to think that Roosevelt High School went from barely having a band program to now getting the top honors at the state amongst all those competitors from those Salem and Medford schools, which used to dominate, is such a great story. So thank you for being here, and we'll hear a little bit more from you. Now I'm pivoting to the veteran. You're the veteran now, Joaquin. And we're extending our appreciation to the current art laureate, which is Joaquin Lopez. And my colleague, Commissioner Rubio, was really smart to appoint you a couple of years ago, and you've done nothing but been amazing in your role. And I think this also sets up a system that would be great to have someone that's been engaged for a couple of years in this role, and then the new person coming in, a little bit of pressure on you, Jason, to consider doing this for more than 2 years, and then we could kind of see a rotation like that. So it's great to have you back, and there's all this other things I was supposed to say, but I need to stop and just turn it over to Jeff so that the two of you and Jeff can give us a report. Thanks for being here. I'm excited.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan, and good morning, City Council. For the record, my name is Jeff Hawthorne. I'm the City Arts Program Manager. Just a quick background on this program. The Creative Laureate Program was first established in 2012 when City Council appointed photographer Julie Keefe as the city's first Creative Laureate of Portland. Sebastiani Ganesan Forbes was our second Creative Laureate from 2018 to 2021. And in 2021, under Commissioner Rubio's leadership, the city appointed two Creative Laureates, Joaquin Lopez and Layla Hale. As the agenda item reads, and Commissioner Ryan noted, we are presenting Joaquin today for an extended term of 1 year and asking you to appoint Jason Margolis for a 2-year term, so we can set up staggered terms so that one Creative Laureate can hopefully always be there to mentor a new incoming Creative Laureate. This is an honorary role designed to be the city's ambassador to our vibrant creative community. The Creative Laureate also advocates for Portland's diverse arts and culture ecosystem and advocates for the broader creative economy. As part of their ambassadorial duties, Jason and Joaquin will receive quarterly briefings from the City Arts Program and from Commissioner Ryan's office on the city's arts and culture priorities, and will ask for their help communicating those priorities and those projects to the creative community and to the public at large. For example, one of our priorities right now, as you know, is our cultural planning process, and Joaquin actually sits on the board of our cultural planning steering committee. Another priority is the Arts Education and Access Fund. We want to make sure that everyone understands the impact of the arts tax, and we will be asking for their help communicating that. Jason is obviously well positioned to do that as an arts educator himself. And another priority is the Portland Monuments Project. We will be asking our Creative Laureates to help promote the city's engagement activities this fall and winter, and to invite the community's participation in this important conversation. So we will also ask our Creative Laureates to be conversant in the city's core values, our form of government, our charter transition, and how community members can access city services. And we will ask our Creative Laureates to share their perspectives with you from time to time. Beyond that, we just invite each Creative Laureate to seize the platform and make it their own. And the City Arts Program provides each Creative Laureate with an annual honorarium of $10,000. So with that, it is my honor and privilege to introduce you to Jason Margolis and to reintroduce you to Joaquin Lopez. Jason, we'll start with you.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning. I think Dan did a great job of giving some background, but I'm I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I was a band student, been a musician my whole life. Although when I went to University of Oregon, I was not a music major, I was actually a music minor. I did not think I would end up being a band teacher. And I got a master's in gen ed, K through 5, special ed, K through 12. And so I ended up at Roosevelt in 99-2000 as a special educator, predominantly working with students with learning disabilities, supporting them in their academics. That was the very last year we had an inkling of a band program. And after that year, it just fell apart. There was nothing at the middle school. And I would start teaching kids guitar after school and making beats on a little drum machine. And the principal at the time asked me if I wanted to teach a guitar class as an elective the next year. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? That'd be great, I'd love it. And so I continued to do that for 5-6 years while also carrying on my duties as a special educator. And it was all for fun. There were no festivals, competitions. We'd have real informal concerts, very non-traditional. And in 2007, there was a couple things that happened that year that really planted the seed for me. And that was, first of all, Roosevelt made the state basketball tournament, our men's basketball team. And we went down to Eugene and played in Mac Court. And we were just going through teams. I mean, we made it all the way to the state championship game. It was amazing. And I'm looking at all these other schools that just had these robust pep bands and cheer squads. And I'm like, oh my God, we had nothing. We had a great community going down there, checking out the team. And that just really laid a foundation for me. I was like, wow, this is crazy. You know, we have nothing supporting our team. And also that year, our principal at the time, she was like, I love what you do with music and our kids. It's so awesome. You should be the music teacher here. And I'm like, well, that's great, but I didn't major in music. I just minored in music. I mean, I'm a lifelong musician. I've been in tons of different bands and stuff. So she's like, that's cool. She was in HR at Portland Public, and she said, I'll get you what they call a conditional music license for 3 years. And I was like, okay, sure, great. So the condition of the license was that in 3 years, I had to become endorsed as a music educator. So I had to go back to school while teaching full-time, while raising my family. We live in North Portland, very close to Roosevelt, actually. And that was a lot, but I loved it because I loved the students at Roosevelt. And I was just doing it for the kids. And I started to do band stuff, and Dan remembers coming out there. And we had no middle school feeder program, basically, so that made things really a challenge. And I just continued to do that for, many years. But I liked jazz band because you could flush out a jazz band with about 15 to 20 kids. Saxophones, trombones, trumpets, rhythm section. That really spoke to me. I love jazz music. And we started to go to some competitions. We went to the U of P Jazz Festival a lot down the street. And the first year we went, we were like the worst band there, lowest scores, whatever. We had a blast. And we'd go back every year and get a little better each year. And then about 2016, we won our first award there, which was amazing. Anyway, and then about that time, Kristen Brayson in PPS, she had a plan for North Portland, which was that we would have middle school band programs in North and Northeast Portland, in particular Roosevelt cluster feeding into Roosevelt. And that plan started to take place, and it was amazing. I would meet middle school band teachers, and they're like, they're coming to Roosevelt. I'm like, yay. And then they kind of trickle in year by year. In 2019, we had a robust incoming group of freshmen. It was almost overwhelming. It's like I had like 50 plus kids in my advanced concert band class. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. We're out and playing the games. We're out, we're going to some jazz competitions. And we all know what happened in the spring of 2020, right? We all went home. And I'm like, why now? Why after all this development does this happen? And during that time, it was really a goal of mine to keep my kids together. We were all struggling. Kids were struggling with academics. I wasn't going to traumatize them. We had fun online. And we came back in 21, 22. And we went to 4 jazz festivals. We had 2 jazz bands and a combo, and we won like 9 awards, trophies, at all these different festivals. It was amazing. The kids were so invested. Just great kids, super talented, that had middle school band experience, most of them. And then last year, we went up a division. Because Roosevelt's gotten so big, we went up to the 6A, the biggest division in the state. And I was like, well, it's going to be a lot tougher this year, you guys. And we didn't know how we'd do, but at our first festival, we qualified for state. And that was super cool. And then as the year went on, some festivals we placed at, some we didn't. And we made it to the jazz festival competition, the state one, for the 6A, the biggest division in the state. And we would have been happy getting last place, honestly. We were just so happy to be there. And we played our hearts out. The kids did great. And we ended up winning the whole thing. It was amazing. You know, and there's amazing bands we're going against. And, you know, music isn't all about getting awards. It's about playing with soul and integrity. And I guess at the end of the day, well, last year, plus, we sent like 10 kids to music universities, which is amazing. That's a high for us that are starting this fall. And at the end of the day, I think last year was a symbol of when our students in North and Northeast Portland are given an equitable playing field to play on with other schools, we can compete and be as good or better as any school in the state. And so as creative laureate of the city of Portland, my goal is to maintain, protect, and increase music programs at the elementary, middle school, and high school level so these things aren't taken away from us again like they happened in the 90s. I don't know how that all happened. Grant kept their music programs at the middle school. Cleveland kept all their music, so, I just want to make sure that all those things stay intact so we can continue to do great things. And now there's a full-time band teacher at Jefferson, which is awesome. I'd like to see that at Benson as well. And that's pretty much it. Sorry if I talk too much, but it's okay? It's okay, great. I think I said everything I wanted to say. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, I got a frog in my throat. Dear members of Portland City Council, my name is Joaquin Lopez. I'm an artist and mental health counselor. I'm here today to report about my experience and joy in serving the city of Portland as an arts and culture ambassador. In the year 2021, actually, can I get I think there's a slide. In the year 2021, I was one of 2 creative laureates appointed by Commissioner Carmen Rubio alongside Layla Hale. As creative laureates, we each curated our own experience serving our cultural and creative communities. However, we also came together to present an event at Peninsula Park called Arts for All in collaboration with Portland Parks and Recreation, Summer Free for All. This event featured live traditional Latin American folkloric music, Aztec dancers, DJ music, Vogue dance, free food boxes and food vendors, a resource fair, and creative activities, and we had a great time. Slide 2, please. One of the biggest privileges in this role was presenting the storytelling event called Pentimento, Community Stories, Memoir, Music, and Poetry, featuring the life of Latina leader and elder Linda Jaramillo on September 10th and 11th in 2022 in partnership with Multnomah Arts Center. We had full crowds, and it was so positively received. And I believe Linda's here in our council chamber today. Linda shared her formative experiences from childhood and adulthood that led her to what she calls today her encore years. We learned about Linda's trials and tribulations and what she endured that helped forge and contribute to social justice and common good, transforming her community. During the presentation, I set up painting stations for people to paint in response to her stories. This slide features the artwork created by community members that day. Highlights of my work in the last 2 years include speaking to organizations and colleges inspiring people to harness the power of creativity, and supporting artists committed to community engagement by setting time aside to listen, mentor, and think tank their projects, ideas, and experiences. This is especially important to me since I would not be here without the mentorship of leaders who supported me. One of those leaders I am grateful to is David Martinez. Slide 3, please. On May 20th and 21st of this year, I presented Voz Alta, the story of David Martinez in partnership with Multnomah Arts Center. Director Michael Cavazos and I interviewed David, and from this interview, I wrote a poetic narrative mythologizing his life, interpreted on stage by artists and musicians. For me, it was a full circle moment giving gratitude to his leadership and the achievements in his life that I and so many others have benefited from. Born and raised in Eastern Oregon to farm worker parents and a family rooted in Mexican values, he founded Latino Gay Pride in 2006 and has been a champion of supporting students to enter higher education through his work with prominent universities throughout Oregon. He served as deputy director at Latino Network and today is assistant county administrator for Washington County. Working with city arts manager Jeff Hawthorne and City Arts Policy Advisor and Council Liaison Stephen Herrera has been a pleasure. As a team, we developed the granting process for resiliency support for cultural organizations using funds from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Jeff and Stephen have been instrumental to my growth as creative laureate and ever supportive and responsive. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve one more year in this role with Jason Margalis under the guidance of Commissioner Dan Ryan, our new Commissioner of Culture and Livability. Already, I have enjoyed meeting and collaborating with Darian D. Jones, Senior Policy Director of Arts, Culture, and Equity. My goal is to teach Jason everything I know and support him as he ventures to create his own path, and to further develop the Creative Laureate role as arts and culture ambassadors. The Creative Laureate program is the highlight of my creative career, and I am grateful to Commissioner Carmen Rubio for believing, Carmen Rubio for believing in me, and to all the staff and volunteers that have made everything possible. The city of Portland is a city that works. And there's so much more work to be done. Thank you so much. I think I just ran a marathon.
That concludes the report. I mean, who wants to talk after
I know,
that?
it's hard to follow that
Both of them, yeah.
presentation. Is there any public testimony for this?
No one signed up.
No? Okay, any council comments?
Why we vote? Huh? Do we vote on this?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
report.
we're gonna, yeah.
I'll just
Just,
do it.
I'm following
Oh,
my
yeah.
screen.
Oh.
Okay, so if there's no further discussion, we'll accept a motion to accept the report.
So moved.
Okay.
Oh, second, yeah.
Okay, moved and seconded. Keelan, can you please call the roll?
Gonzalez.
I just want to thank you both for bringing so much light and joy today and for what you do every day. Inspiring children in this city through a really tough period of time and continue to support them, continue to give them connection, inspiration. I just so appreciative of what you do, and you truly bring some light in today. I vote aye in accepting the report. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to echo some of the themes my friend and colleague, Commissioner Gonzalez, mentioned. I'll tell you, I'm heading into my third year on this council, and one of the things I try to never do is speak for my colleagues who sit on this body, but I'm pretty sure I'm safe in saying this. When the creative laureates come and spend some time with us in the chamber, it is really consistently one of the best days in the year, and that is particularly true today. Thank you so much for your presentations. Thank you for the contributions you make to our community. And thank you, Jason. Thank you, Joaquin, for agreeing to step into this most important role for the city of Portland. As we all know, the City of Roses has gone through some trauma in recent years, and we have some healing to do. We heard that in the context of what's happening with our school kids. I got kids in middle school and high school, and I can see some of the impact COVID and other events have had on them. And the arts is certainly part of how this community will heal, which is why I am so glad to join my colleagues in voting aye.
Ryan.
Yes. First of all, those are great stories, so inspiring. You know, we should spend more time focused on the arts. That's always helpful to our city's self-esteem. Our city's needs it. We need that joy. It just activates everything positive. And the two of you collectively cover a lot of ground. I really like what I can see here in terms of your own relationship. And I know, Jason, I was really focused on wanting to have an educator be part of this system. And we look forward to figuring out how to work with you so that your students could perform here at Council Chamber. We need to get music back in the chambers.
They would love it.
Okay, then that's a deal.
Especially because they get the day off.
But it's just with so much joy that I join all of us today in honoring and appointing the two of you. You're both very distinguished, both Jason and Joaquin, and you're also, you could tell you're wired for this appointment. Not every artist would be. So it's just really awesome. And our city thrives not just because of its natural beauty, its rich history, our vibrant, diverse community that we call home. It's with unwavering support that the council and the collective efforts of our community, we really are on a cusp of a renaissance. And a renaissance where Portland's streets, neighborhoods, and public spaces resonate with melodies, with art, with performance that truly reflect our spirit, our diversity. And that's how we become unified. Art is not just an expression, it's a bridge. It's such a great bridge that connects, I would say it's arts and food that really does the language that unites us all. And both of you, I want to extend just so much gratitude for your support, your dedication, and your belief in this noble endeavor that you chose to pursue. You're unique. Not everyone has the courage to know that their life is about being an artist. And when I talk to my friends who do it for a living, they're like, it was like life or death. It's like, this just makes me feel like I'm alive. And then you just hope that enough money will follow you, that you could pay your bills. And so I just thank you for saying yes. It was a great story that you told, Jason, about how you became the maestro out in North Portland. And truly, it's been such an honor for all of us in the Alumni Network to notice that growth. And I remember those games at MacArthur Court. That was the old MacArthur Court. And I brought the superintendent at the time, Vicki Phillips, to those games. And actually, in my role as a board chair, I was like, see, look at South Medford, look at that band, and look at Lake Oswego's band, and look at Pathetic Us, we don't have that. So just know that it was really a moment when we were down at that tournament in the aughts. And the fact that you built on that is just, it was really affirming to hear that story from where you sat, and then what I experienced in my role as well. Anyway, there's moments where you could just take a pause and go, life is good. We're doing something right. It may seem minor to a lot of you out there. It's not. This is exactly the healing that will move our city forward. So with that excitement and that joy, colleagues, I vote aye.
Rubio.
I want to thank Commissioner Ryan for bringing this item forward to council and for the work that you're doing to create an inspiring art scene. It's really exciting to see what's happening. And as everybody stated, the Creative Laureate serves a really important role for the city and the Portland arts community. And it's a time that we really, as my colleagues have stated, that we really need art right now. We really need the inspiration. We need the creativity more than ever. So I'm really thrilled that not only do we have artists who are advocates, for what is important, but that through this, we're prioritizing as a city your role and our role as, recognizing art as a key expression of who we are as a city. And I think that's really important in a time when we're needing to lift up our values right now more than ever. I also want to just take a moment to thank Joaquin for the work that he's done over the past few years in this role and helping us to further shape the role, and that you're willing to continue now. You've been incredibly phenomenal bright light when we've needed it sometimes on this council and in the city, and often you've moved us to tears. And everything that you do is with your heart and soul, and that's just something that is truly special about you. You truly are an artist for the people, and we're really a better city for it. So thank you. And Jason, your story was so compelling and inspiring to me. I'm really excited to see what you do and what you bring to this new to this role for you. I'm loving that you both are overlapping in this year, and really just wanting to support your direction and what you're doing to inspire the next generation of Portlanders to have that value of love for art in our city as well. So thank you for that. And I also want to just briefly acknowledge the community leader Linda Jaramillo, who's also here, who received a Lifetime Achievement Award last night from Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon. So I just want to acknowledge that. Congratulations, Linda, for your lifetime of service for our city. Thank you. So Jason and Joaquin, I'm very excited to see how you both collaborate and to bring us new projects together and all your work in support of our community. So I'm very excited to vote aye. And with that, the report is accepted.
All right.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Council President Rubio, can we do a quick picture
Sure,
with
yes.
our laureates? Maybe Linda can join in.
Let's pause for 2 minutes to take a quick photo. Move on. So Keelan, have there been any items pulled from consent?
No items have been pulled.
Okay. So let's see, can you call the roll for consent?
Gonzalez.
Consent.
Yeah. Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. So consent passes. So let's move on to our agenda.
Item 791, authorized contract with Jackson Group Peterbilt Incorporated not to exceed $1,496,240 for the purchase of 2 paint striper vehicles.
Okay, so the Portland Bureau of Transportation's existing paint striper vehicles are at the end of their useful life and are due for replacement. This ordinance authorizes the purchase of 2 paint striper vehicles. Fleet Business Operations Supervisor Alan Bates is here to present this item.
Good morning, Council, Commissioners. Thank you. So this is replacing 2 aging paint stripers. Paint stripers are a critical piece of equipment PBOT uses, and obviously we have to have markings on the streets. So this authorizes basically the replacement of that, which are included in the replacement fund that fund all of our vehicles. So this is a fairly standard replacement schedule for us. So this is just the execution of that per an Oregon state contract.
Great, thank you. So Keelan, is there any public testimony on this item?
Sorry, we have one person signed up, David Stein.
Okay, 3 minutes. Name for the record, please.
David's joining us online.
Hello, I'm sorry about that. They just advanced me to panelist.
Oh, hey, David.
Hello.
Hello.
So, good morning, commissioners. I support the purchase of these paint striper vehicles. This isn't about that. They're a vital part of our bicycle infrastructure. Most of our bike infrastructure depends on paint as a sole form of protection for motor vehicles. In Southwest Portland, where a couple of you enjoyed Sunday parkways just a week and a half ago, conventional bike lanes comprise 48% of all bike lanes in that part of town. Across the city, that number is 34% for a total of 148.1 miles. If we include buffered bike lanes, that's another 10% or 44.3 miles, where paint is the only separating thing, separating bicyclists from motor vehicles. However, I'm no Lorex. I don't speak for the bike lanes or the trees. At best, my participation as a member of Portland's Bicycle Advisory Committee and PBOT Bureau and Budget Advisory Committee, I'm speaking on my behalf, not theirs. Just mean I'm slightly more informed. I'm here because paint isn't enough. People are still dying on our roads. Yesterday, a person riding a bike was killed in North Portland, the 48th traffic fatality this year. We have good policies and plans. I've stated this many times. In the 2035 Comprehensive Plan, Policy 9.6 codifies a transportation strategy for people movement, placing bicycling second on the list behind only walking. Part of that policy is even meant to protect possible backsliding by stating, when implementing this prioritization, ensure that the needs and safety of each group of users are considered and changes do not make existing conditions worse for the most vulnerable users higher on this ordered list. Yet there is now a proposal on the table that could do just that on Broadway, albeit it's one of three options. While little is publicly known at this point, I can say that hotel valet zones on Broadway were absolutely horrible to bike through prior to improvements the past 3 years. Door zone bike lanes, striped with just a couple lines of paint, deserve a spot in Dante's Inferno. With the new protected lanes, I no longer actively avoid the area. It's by no means perfect. That is a drawback to starting with paint and sometimes adding plastic wands. But if a facility isn't working, let's make it better. Removing a bike facility to benefit driving goes against so many of our plans, I don't have time to list them off. In addition, there are whispers of rose lanes on Northeast Cooch and Southwest Capitol Highway being removed. This is about paint striping, thermoplastic, and a few signs. These lanes are not ideal for bicycling. However, they do lower stress, and especially in the case of Capitol Highway, increase safety in an area where conventional bike lanes either have very poor pavement quality or have had blackberries and other foliage routinely blocking most or all of the lane. Again, these treatments could be better, but in a world where funds are finite, this makes me more likely to visit Hillsdale via bus or bike rather than either driving or just avoiding the commercial center entirely. Paint is important and it is crucial. Hopefully our bike infrastructure in the future isn't so dependent upon its presence to create safer conditions for people to reach their destinations around Portland. Buy these paint striper vehicles and don't stop there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything else, Keelan? Was that it?
That completes testimony.
Thank you. Colleagues, is there any discussion on this item? No? Okay, with that, can you go ahead and call the roll?
Madam President, I think this is a first reading.
Oh, thank you. You're right. This is the first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It passes to second reading. Thank you, colleagues. Okay, next item.
Item 792, authorized price agreement with Peterson Machinery Company for Caterpillar parts and service not to exceed $6,500,000.
The city owns 50 Caterpillar branded assets that require regular parts and services. This ordinance authorizes a price agreement with the authorized distributor in the Portland area to ensure we are able to repair and replace equipment in a timely manner. Fleet Business Operations Supervisor Alan Bates is here again to present this item. Alan?
Good morning again. Yes, so this agreement simply solidifies our relationship with Peterson Machinery Company, which is the authorized dealer for Caterpillar parts and service. And this really simply just locks us into a 5-year agreement for services and parts that are required that we provide on these assets. So this just simply solidifies it and gets us into a longer term or 5-year agreement. So fairly, I would say, standard in terms of the type of work that we do.
Great. Keelan, is there any public testimony on this
No
item?
one signed up.
Okay, thank you. So colleagues, any discussion on this item? Okay, seeing no discussion, this is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It moves on to second reading. Next item.
Item 793, initiate foreclosure action on certain properties for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the properties.
Colleagues, last week we heard an ordinance that began foreclosure proceedings on some properties with delinquent city liens that are eligible for foreclosure in accordance with City Code 5.30. As a reminder, these liens were placed against the properties by the Bureau of Development Services for code enforcement violations, various nuisances, nuisance abatement, and/or chronic offender violations. Though we had initially planned to vote on this item today, the mayor has shared that we need to make an amendment on the item. A property owner originally listed within this item has worked out a plan with city staff to pay back their lien. Therefore, I move to amend the ordinance to reflect the removal of property 1 at 1225 Northeast 109th Avenue from the list of properties in the ordinance to update Exhibit A to reflect this change and to remove Exhibit B1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Now we'll hear public testimony before discussion and voting on the amendments.
There's no testimony.
There's no testimony on the amendment. Colleagues, do we have any further discussion or questions that can be answered by staff?
I have one.
Sure.
The property that was removed, can we clarify which one that was?
That was a property where there was testimony from the attorney.
Okay, great. Fantastic.
And
Thank
the one
you.
where you all talked right afterwards?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Can you give a highlight on what's the payment plan that you're working on? Just high level, what's the resolution there?
The resolution is that there's a 3-year payment plan. He came in with the signed contracts and the first payment today, and he has engaged a realtor, and the property should be sold within the next month or two.
Fantastic. Thank you for your work on that.
Great,
Very,
yes.
very much appreciated.
Thank you so much. Okay, so if there's no further discussion, lost my vote on the amendment. Yes, please call the roll on the amendment.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Maps,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. So now, after many attempts by BDS to work with the property owners to take responsibility for their properties, we are at the point where council needs to take action to secure these properties and find owners who will be responsible and clean them up. Foreclosure is a heavy and important tool that we don't use lightly, but in these instances, it's necessary to use to ensure the public safety. I'd like to thank our staff at BDS and our staff here today for all of their diligent work in these challenging situations. So this item moves into second reading as amended. Thank you. All right, next
Council
item.
President, I just have one clarifying
Sure.
question. I want to ask the staff. So with those that we'll be voting on, what's the plan of action? Like, so my friends that have been asking me about that property on Northeast Killingsworth for some time, for example, how long will it take for them to see something different? This
Well-
puts action in motion.
Yes.
Tell us about the implementation of that action, please.
So what happens is it'll go to second reading
Oh, I know that part, yeah.
next week.
Okay.
And then after that, it'll take 30 days before the
I
city treasurer
totally-
is authorized to conduct the sale.
I can't hear you, you guys. I just want to make sure I could, yeah.
So what happens after 30 days, the city treasurer is authorized to conduct a foreclosure sale. And at that time, the price will be set and people will be able to come in and bid at auction on the property.
Is there any cleanup before that? Or it's just all in the marketplace? We're
Yeah.
releasing it to the marketplace, and it'll
Yes.
take about 2 months to release it to the marketplace from
I
today?
would have the city treasurer answer that question.
Okay. It's just, I got some questions, and I wanted to make sure I could answer them. Yeah.
Commissioner, this is Bridget O'Callahan, the city
Oh.
treasurer. Happy
Hey,
to answer
Bridget.
that for you. Hello there. As was just outlined, there is a process. Once the property is sold, and that roughly, there's a 60-day notice period that needs to be accorded to the current property owners, right? So if you look at this, it generally takes roughly around 3 months to get all of the notices and the sale conducted. So we're probably, looking at a 90-day window, if you will, just to make sure everything gets completed. But after that, once the property is sold, there is a 1-year redemption or reclamation period that the previous owner has the right to. So once it's sold, then the new owner, certainly takes possession of it, but there is that rescission period of 1 year. So oftentimes we don't see a whole lot of activity that will happen in that, that year timeframe. However, the new owner is responsible, and so they will work with the city in terms of making sure that code violations are addressed, et cetera.
Okay, thank you so much for the reality check. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yeah, Madam President, I have a question, which I will direct towards the city attorney, just for some clarity. It'll be fine, I think. Do we have the power to make this an emergency ordinance, if I were to make that motion today?
Let me double check. I don't know if there's a problem with it.
Okay. Colleagues, while the city attorney looks into that, let me give you a little bit of my thinking on why I'd like to make this an emergency ordinance. First, I really appreciate staff in the mayor's office for making sure that we were able to reconcile some of the concerns we had about that one property that we discussed to some extent last week. In the interest of just moving forward with the disposition of these troubled properties as quickly as possible, I would, if this council is so empowered, I would move that we could make this an emergency ordinance and move forward. If there's any discussion or any pushback, I will not make that motion.
No pushback. I mean, it'll go from what could take up to a couple of years. He'll shorten it by a week. So, I mean, that's good. That's what we're doing here. Okay.
So is it an emergency on the amendment?
No, I think he's talking about doing an emergency, like adding another amendment to add an emergency.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Okay.
Was that a motion then?
That was a question just to see if this is something we could do. I wasn't sure with being down one person if that was going to complicate things here. And I don't want to slow us down today. This is...
Yeah, we're just checking to see, since it's related to properties.
Okay. And how, why don't, instead of delaying us even further today, because this will be a long day, I will not make that motion today. Maybe if at some point I can get an answer to that, so for future reference, I can know how to proceed in this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Keelan, next item. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Well, have we, so it comes back next week?
Oh, your hand.
Yeah.
So second reading essentially, okay.
I'm sorry. Next item, 794. Authorize the Bureau of Environmental Services to acquire certain permanent and temporary property rights necessary for construction of the Northeast 33rd Drive Pump Station Upgrade Project, E10910, through negotiation or exercise of the city's eminent domain authority.
Commissioner Matz.
Thank you very much, colleagues. This item comes to us from the Bureau of Environmental Services. This ordinance authorizes environmental services to acquire necessary property rights so the Bureau can upgrade and maintain the city's 33rd Drive pump station. Here to tell us more about this ordinance, we have Bhargavi Ambedkar, who is a BES manager for treatment and pump systems. We also have Philip McCormick, a BES project manager, and we have Ashley McClay, who serves as a PBOT right-of-way agent. Welcome.
Thank you. I think Keelan, I think there's a presentation you guys will pull up. All right, great. Good morning, members of council. My name is Philip McCormick. I work with the Bureau of Environmental Services in the Project Management Office, and I am the project manager for the Northeast 33rd Drive Pump Station Upgrade Project. We are here today to request council approval of an ordinance to authorize BES to acquire permanent and temporary property rights necessary for the construction of the pump station through negotiation or the exercise of the city's eminent domain authority. Next slide. The existing Northeast 33rd Drive pump station is located approximately a quarter mile north of Northeast Columbia Boulevard on Northeast 33rd Drive. The pump station property is very small, is bounded to the north by the Columbia Slough and the south and east by private property. The area is zoned general industrial. Primary goal of the project is to improve the pump station's performance and reliability to ensure future influent flows are conveyed to the Columbia Boulevard wastewater treatment plant for treatment. Next slide. Pump station was constructed in 1973 and has had no significant upgrades since then. This facility is at the end of its service life and upgrades are needed to prevent a pump station failure. The planned upgrades include all new mechanical and electrical equipment, a standby generator, and seismic upgrades at the site to make the pump station more resilient within the system. Design will result in a pump station that is relatively easy to operate and maintain, and one that complies with regulatory requirements. Next slide. So this graphic shows the proposed development with the 3 property rights that are described in the ordinance highlighted for clarity. The neighboring property is owned by Bluebell Enterprises and their tenant, Pacific Power, currently operates on the property. The existing pump station property can be seen in the lower left corner of the graphic, the area with no highlight. The area that I've highlighted in pink is the exchange parcel for the property line adjustment. So this is the property to be acquired by BES, so the pump station upgrades can be constructed as designed. The area highlighted in green is a permanent access easement. This easement gives BES maintenance staff a secondary access point to the pump station for future maintenance activities. And lastly, the area highlighted in orange is a temporary construction easement. So this is the area needed during construction to provide the room to construct the pump station upgrades and to reconfigure Bluebell Enterprises driveway and parking lot that are impacted by the property line adjustment. Next slide. Here you can see the square footage of each of the property rights to be acquired. Bluebell Enterprises and Pacific Power have been providing feedback on the design since design began and are aware of the need for property rights. PBOT right-of-way is leading the acquisition effort and will hire an independent company to perform the appraisals to determine the fair market value for the acquisition. The plan is to have possession of these property rights by May 2024, with construction notice to proceed to be issued in March of 2025. Next slide. And that's all I had. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions, colleagues? Commissioner, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I just want to thank staff for the presentation and their work on this important project.
Great. Since this is a first reading, the item will move on to a second reading. So,
Yeah, and no one signed up for testimony. Just
thank
want to
you.
make sure that's part of the record.
Thank you. And no one signed up. Keelan, next item, please.
Item 795, authorize grant application to U.S. Department of Transportation to improve safety, access, and community connections for the Northeast Broadway Main Street and supporting connections and 82nd Avenue corridor safety and access for Colley and Sumner neighborhoods projects for a total up to $80 million.
Great. Thank colleagues. This item comes to us from PBOT. This ordinance authorizes PBOT to apply for 2 grants from the U.S. Department of Transportation. If PBOT receives these grants, funds will be used to build and plan for transportation infrastructure that will improve safety, improve access, and improve community connections along 82nd Avenue and in the lower Albina district. These U.S. Department of Transportation grants are unique because they do not require a local match. Now, that lack of a local match makes these grants a great opportunity for PBOT to meet our city's transportation needs without further burdening PBOT's already beleaguered budget. Now, if PBOT receives these grants, funds will be used to fulfill long-standing promises this council has made to the people of Portland. The first promise this grant will help us keep is for the city of Portland to improve safety and transportation access along 82nd Avenue. The second promise these grants will help this council keep is for the city of Portland to reconnect the neighborhoods of the Lower Albina District, which were split asunder by transportation projects built in the distant past. Now, let me take a minute now to provide some background on both of these projects. Let's start with 82nd. Colleagues, as you will remember, in 2021, the city of Portland took possession of 82nd Avenue from the state of Oregon. The terms of that transfer committed the city of Portland to make $35 million in transportation infrastructure improvements along 82nd. The grant application PBOT proposes to submit to the U.S. Department of Transportation would pay for that $35 million investment without making additional demands on the city of Portland's budget. Now, let's take a look at the second PBOT grant proposal. PBOT's grant proposal for the Lower Albina project seeks funds to reimagine Broadway and Weidler from Northeast 7th to the Broadway Bridge. The goal of this planning project is to develop a new vision for the transportation infrastructure in those neighborhoods. Now, this would be a vision which would reconnect the Albina waterfront area to jobs, services, and neighborhoods to the north and east. Of course, this planning effort complements the works done by our friends over at the Albina Vision Project. Those folks seek to improve life for people who live, work, and play in Portland's historic Lower Albina District. Here to tell us more about these projects, we have Kristen Hull, Planning Division Manager with PBOT. We have Caitlin Reff, Major Projects Division Manager, also with PBOT. And of course, we have an old and good friend who is back with us today. Where are we? Who do we have here?
Brendan Penn.
Brendan, hey, welcome back, Brendan. I apologize. It's been a long couple of years. Welcome. I'll turn it over to our presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. I am Kristen Hull, the PBOT Planning Division Manager. And before I start, I'd like to recognize two of our staff who are here with us but not speaking today, Mike Saratella and Zeph Wagner. They're two planners on our team who have been the driving force behind these grant applications. And for any of you who have prepared grants, you know that is a big lift, and I want to acknowledge their hard work and also acknowledge that they'll answer any hard questions today. We are here to talk about the Neighborhood Access and Equity and Reconnecting Communities Grant Program. These programs are focused, they're focused on restoring connections and repairing harms caused by transportation facilities. This program will distribute more than $3 billion this year in a one-time funding allocation from the U.S. Department of Transportation, and it specifically makes funding available without match for communities that meet federal equity criteria. The grants are due September 28th. We are not the only folks looking at this grant. There will be fierce competition throughout the country. But even within the city of Portland, we are putting forward two applications. We'll hear from the Oregon Department of Transportation a bit about their application on I-5 Rose Quarter. Highway covers. Metro is putting together an application under a different program within this application area to look at funding for bus rapid transit project development and community capacity building equitable development in those areas, which we're supportive of. And then OMSI is putting forward an application to realign Southeast Water Avenue, another project for which PBOT is not the applicant, but would be the delivery agency. So as Commissioner Mapp said, we have these two applications. I'm not going to belabor this because he covered all of the important points, and I'll just jump right in to talk about 82nd. 82nd Avenue. Cully, Sumner, and Park Groves are high equity areas in the city of Portland that are divided by 82nd Avenue and I-205. The facility, 82nd Avenue in this area has a significant crash history, and this area specifically was one of the places where where so many crashes had happened that really triggered the transfer from ODOT to PBOT, hoping that we could really help with the safety problems being faced by people trying to just cross this street. 82nd Avenue was widened in the early 1900s and really transformed into a state highway, and it's since divided these communities. And our project work is working to restore those connections, and this grant would be an opportunity to make a bigger investment and a faster investment in that transformation. I think it's important to note that with the $150 million coming to us from the state, that we're already starting to invest in 82nd Avenue is not enough. The $185 million that includes the city's unprogrammed contribution is not enough. We think there's more like $350 million of needs on 82nd. So while this grant would help us get closer, I want to just continue to remind us that we don't have enough funding to do all the things community would like us to do in this corridor. So specifically, this grant would improve 82nd from Webster in the north to Sandy Boulevard. And we've scoped things like widening sidewalks, planting street trees, reducing speeds and conflicts, adding pedestrian crossings, improving safety at traffic signals, upgrading curb ramps, and doing some repaving. We started by focusing on 82nd itself, but quickly realized that reconnecting this area to parks, to schools, to transit centers, particularly in this primarily residential segment of 82nd, requires better east-west connections. And so we're looking at a complete street improvement on Prescott and greenway enhancements on the identified Alberta neighborhood greenway. We expect costs to come in between $35 and $40 million. These projects do establish the community vision established through multiple past projects, past plans over the last 15 years, as well as the community engagement that PBOT is currently conducting as part of the Building a Better 82nd project. We'd also improve transit access to the Line 72 both today and preparing for a possible future bus rapid transit or FX corridor on 82nd Avenue. And this grant funding, as Commissioner Maps referenced, would be a key part of our overall funding plan for the corridor, allowing us to both meet needs in this area and have more resources for remaining parts of the corridor. So it helps us to just have a little more flexibility in how we meet our overall needs. I'm going to hand it to Caitlin.
All right, thank you, Kristen. Good morning, Council. I'm Caitlin Ruff with PBOT Major Projects and Partnerships. And I'm here today to share a bit more about two additional grant opportunities that we have been developing in partnership with community stakeholders, including the Historic Albina Advisory Board, the Albina Vision Trust, and the Oregon Department of Transportation. So one of these would be submitted by PBOT, and the other that we will mention as informational is going to be submitted by ODOT. These grants are seeking federal dollars to improve access and connectivity and foster equitable development and restoration in the heart of the city's historic Black neighborhood, Lower Albina. The original construction of Interstate 5, or I-5, in the 1950s and 60s divided the Albina neighborhood and was part of a series of public and private developments that led to disinvestment in Albina and forced displacement of many of its residents, businesses, and community institutions. Over 800 Black-owned homes were razed, destroying billions in generational wealth and upending a thriving local economy. Despite this history, most of Portland's Black historic churches, social justice organizations, and social service agencies are still anchored in the Albina area and surrounding neighborhoods, and the area remains a cultural and emotional hub for many Black Portlanders who live there or return to visit the area. So this grant opportunity seeks federal funds, or to award federal funds to projects that retrofit or mitigate highways or other transportation facilities that create barriers to community connectivity, including mobility, access, or economic development. And that really is exactly what these projects seek to do. So through this area, I-5, the grade separation there really creates kind of a canyon-like barrier through the neighborhood. It's the white line kind of running north-south on this map. And it also creates a complex interchange with the Broadway-Weidler interchange area that's really difficult to navigate for all users. So this contributes to modal conflicts and safety issues. The inner Broadway corridor has been identified as among Portland's most dangerous streets. And the Broadway-Weidler couplet serves tens of thousands of users per day, but the streets have unprotected bike facilities, accessibility deficiencies, narrow sidewalks, and long distances between pedestrian crossings. At 96 feet wide and seven travel lanes curb to curb, North Broadway presents a significant barrier to community, and it is the widest street in the central city and one of the widest in Portland. So Commissioner Maps already spoke about the Albina Vision Trust and who they are as an organization. They have been working with community to identify key catalyst sites in the 94-acre area of Lower Albina. And we have partnered with the Albina Vision Trust to conceptualize this ask. Broadway and Weidler serves as the primary multimodal connection over I-5, connecting Albina Vision catalytic sites to neighborhoods and community institutions to the north. And the project will also improve connections within the district to important destinations, including the Willamette River, the Rose Quarter Transit Center, and both existing and planned parks and open spaces. This project also complements and extends the planned investments by ODOT with the I-5 Rose Quarter highway cover and local street improvements to reconnect neighborhoods on either sides of the highway. So this graphic, as provided by ODOT, is really just for illustrative purposes, but it begins to provide a picture of what the future could hold. And that's one that covers the freeway through this part of the central city and provides the reconnective infrastructure necessary to begin to reimagine a restored neighborhood. The city is a participating agency on ODOT's I-5 Rose Quarter project, and with direction from the Portland City Council, we as staff are directed to engage on the project with a commitment to project value centered on restorative justice. As defined within or by the neighborhood framework principles and supported by the Historic Albina Advisory Board, that means a highway cover that will maximize high-quality development parcels on and around the area for community use and control. That means restoring city streets to, across the highway cover to create active frontages for development and prioritize safe, pedestrian-oriented routes. And that means minimizing exposure to highway noise and pollution. So again, this slide is mostly informational. It provides a breakdown of what ODOT's total grant request for the highway cover and supportive elements will be. And those funds are requested by ODOT. It's not part of what council is approving for the PBOT request today, but we wanted to include this as it's very much in coordination. And these two proposals from PBOT and ODOT do combine for a total ask of federal funds near $100 million. But we know that this investment and really more is needed for the full success of the district. So we have invited partners to council today. Brendan Finn with ODOT Urban Mobility Office Director is here to help answer any questions from council. And I would also like to invite JT Flowers from the Albina Vision Trust to provide some remarks.
Hey, good morning, Council. And thank you, Caitlin. As Caitlin said, my name is JT Flowers. I am a lifelong resident of Albina, born and raised, and I have the honor of working for the Albina Vision Trust. I'm sure that all of you at this point are familiar with the project. We are a restorative redevelopment entity that is geared around not just a small-scale development, right? We are trying to rebuild 94 acres of interconnected, interwoven, and communal space in the heart of the historic Black community here in Portland, not just for Black Portlanders, but for all Portlanders. And that goal is, I think, essentially wrapped up in this project that PBOT is presenting here today. We have an opportunity to not only improve transit connections, make this a safer space for families, for children, but also to complement existing projects that we've been working on over the course of our tenure as an organization. Those projects include, as Caitlin again mentioned, the I-5 Rose Quarter redevelopment that includes the highway covers, which are essential to healing the scar caused by that trench, which we call I-5, which was dug through the middle of our community. We also have an opportunity to complement the potential of a long-term waterfront park that makes use of prime center city real estate, which in any other major city would be one of the most bustling and lively, abundant areas of the city. And lastly, we have the opportunity to complement work that we are trying to do to acquire the Portland Public Schools headquarters site. As you are all, I'm no doubt aware, we have right of first offer and right of first refusal on that site. It's a priority of ours. And over the course of the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, our goal will be to expand our development efforts across the district. So this grant, is absolutely essential to kickstarting that process and building on the momentum that we've already raised. And if you have any questions about our efforts, I'd be happy to answer them.
Colleagues, any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the conclusion of our presentation.
Okay, great.
We do have public
Okay,
testimony.
Okay.
First up, we have David Bennig.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is David Binnig. I'm a board member of Bike Cloud PDX, and I support these grant applications, which would support funding for much-needed transportation improvements on East 82nd and on North and Northeast Broadway. I also want to speak to the future of the Broadway corridor that this is a part of. As you've all heard, PBOT staff have been directed to prepare a proposal to remove the parking protected bike lanes on Broadway between Northwest Hoyt and Southwest Salmon, returning those 14 blocks to their 2018 configuration with bike lanes in the car door zone, unprotected from downtown traffic. In 2005, a young woman named Christine Okens was killed in the bike lane on Southwest Broadway. She was crushed under the wheels of a semi-truck between Southwest Washington and Southwest Alder. She was 25. In 2009, PBOT began work on protected bike lanes for that Broadway corridor, and in 2022, last year, it completed that project, creating a protected bike route through downtown. Commissioner Mapps, you called a press conference last month to talk about what you rightly called the epidemic of traffic fatalities our city is facing. On Monday night, we had our first bicycle fatality of the year. And late last month, we saw the danger of insufficiently protected bike lanes when a driver swerved into a bike lane and drove head-on to a woman on Northeast 21st. She fortunately survived. The very least we can do, given PBOT's dire budget situation, is not to actively undo the progress that we've made in building safer streets. A few years ago, when now PBOT Director Millicent Williams was then Capital Projects Manager, I know there were people who had misgivings about the bike lanes being implemented then on Southeast Foster. And she said something, Director Williams said something about those changes that I appreciated at the time and wrote down. She said, "A road reconfiguration is not what's causing a furniture store to lose business. Wayfair.com is what's causing a furniture store to lose business." I don't yet know the reasons for Director Williams' recent directive to remove protected bike lanes on Broadway, but I would say that what she said about Foster then is also true of other businesses today. This has been a challenging time, I know, for businesses in downtown Portland. I know you're all very well aware of that, but safe bike lanes are not what's keeping visitors away from our city. Another community member this morning spoke of the death of Jeannie Diaz in front of the Belmont Library earlier this summer. I've been told by Commissioner Mapp's office that we don't have the resources for safer infrastructure on Chavez right now. If that's true, we certainly can't justify using the limited resources that we do have to remove the safer infrastructure that we've just built on Broadway. I hope any changes to the Broadway bike lane maintain the safety improvements that the city has already made, and I hope that in using those limited resources, the city prioritizes changes that make our streets safer for all users, rather than taking away the protection we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Sarah Iannarone online.
Welcome.
Sarah, we can't hear you if you're talking. Now you're muted. There you go.
Good morning. It takes a second there. Also, my dog's barking, so let me see if I can keep us on track. Thanks, everybody, for taking my testimony this morning. Good morning, Portland City Council. My name is Sarah Iannarone, and I'm here on behalf of the Street Trust, and I am a registered lobbyist with the city. As you know, PBOT is facing significant revenue challenges and thus should be competing aggressively for substantial federal grant funding opportunities while the short windows of BIL and IRA are open, and we applaud staff for their hard work on this front. You may not be aware, but the Street Trust is regularly asked by agency staff to submit letters of support for grant applications like this. Already this year, we've supported funding requests for the Montgomery Streetcar Extension, Gateway Transit Center, and even Interstate Bridge Replacement Project, among many others. And we've been engaged in both the Rose Quarter and 82nd Avenue stakeholder processes and wholeheartedly support the grant applications under consideration today, especially given their potential to benefit historically marginalized communities. However, we are here to share our concerns that PBOT leadership is currently jeopardizing our competitiveness and undermining our prospects for winning these two grants. There is, as you know, circulating in the media, a directive from leadership to staff calling for an unprecedented removal of a crucial section of our protected bicycle network from Southwest Salmon to Northwest Hoyt along Broadway, a vital connection not only for your workers, but PSU staff and students, folks heading to OHSU and many other major employers in the city. I understand that some businesses along this corridor have expressed concerns about their customers' comfort with the bike lane, and we hope that PBOT will work with them to find a solution. I'm not here to pit the hospitality industry against City Council's approved Complete Streets policies. Our concern extends far beyond the stretch of curb to issues of governance and fiscal responsibility within the Bureau as related to the grant applications under discussion today. You're being asked to approve applications to USDOT for projects focused on improving safety for people walking, bicycling, and accessing transit along 82nd Avenue and in Lower Albina, as you heard, including for construction of additional protected bike facilities on East Broadway. So the total funding request is approximately $80 million, which, as you also heard today, does not require a local match. This is special money. The current proposal to remove the protected bike lane along West Broadway, which directly connects to the bike lanes for which we are applying for federal funding along East Broadway, raises a significant question. Why would the federal government fund infrastructure installation that PBOT might later just decide to remove? Estimated costs for removing the West Side lane range from 50% to a staggering 300% of the original installation cost. So it's difficult to imagine why USDOT would entrust PBOT with their money when there appear to be issues locally with project planning and implementation, as well as fiscal responsibility. Prior to the bike lane installation on West Broadway, that stretch was host to 1 in every 42 crashes in the city. It is an empirically proven successful Vision Zero investment. This is particularly critical in light of what you're going to hear this afternoon around the Climate Investment Plan, which proposes tens of millions of dollars that could put 6,000 new e-bikes on the streets of Portland. This is no time to be taking out protected infrastructure. We need to be doing everything possible to make sure that all forces are aligned, including our fellow federal delegation, to champion these two grant applications and a lot of the other grant applications that we need to submit aimed at improving safety. So please, I do want you to think about these small curbside decisions in the context of larger issues and think about the overall system completeness. And we look forward to writing a letter of support for both of these grants once we get this situation cleared up. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Clint Culpepper.
Thank you all. Thank you, City Council and PBOT staff for your time today. My name is Clint Culpepper. I'm currently a Safe Routes to School educator in the city of Portland, but I operate statewide. Previously, I was the Transportation Options Manager for Portland State University, and I was happy to say that we played a very large role in bringing the first segment of protected bike lane in the city to Southwest Broadway along our campus. I rode that section every single day that I worked at Portland State University. I worked there for over 12 years. Both of my children went to preschool downtown, and I rode them downtown on a bicycle every day that they went to daycare. When I rode this by myself, I rode this segment of Southwest Broadway, and it was stressful. It was the most direct route though, so that's what I chose. When I hear about projects like the Northeast and North Broadway segment and the opportunity to add protected facilities within the city on routes that we know are traveled heavily by folks on bicycles, I can't be more supportive of those things. So it's great to hear PBOT staff working on continued projects like that and connecting what we have already built here in this city. We know that a network is an absolutely important part of how we build infrastructure. And so when we're talking about how do we connect North and Northeast Broadway to the existing infrastructure that we have in Northwest and Southwest Broadway, it's important that that network stay intact. As we just heard from PBOT staff, the importance of the project on the other side of the river is really that we're bringing safety and reconnecting the community. And so it's very disheartening to hear that we are hearing that PBOT is directing staff to explore the removal of this infrastructure. Sarah and David talked eloquently about this already, so I don't want to belabor that point, but I do want to say that when my kids were born and I started riding them downtown, we skipped this segment of Broadway. We cut over to the park blocks, and even though it took longer and it was less direct, we took it because it was the only safe way through. I felt comfortable on my own. There was no way I was going to put my kids in harm's way in this unprotected bike lane that you want to reinstall in this segment. So I just want you to think hard and long about how this impacts all users, not just visitors to our city. And I don't think we're going to have folks staying away from the city simply because we have protected bicycle infrastructure. So thank you for your time. Apologize for going over.
Thank you. You have a comment?
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge Clinton, David, Sarah's comments briefly. I do want to emphasize that we're talking about the east side of this and appreciate the network effect and thinking holistically about it. But I think there's likely a future public space for discussion about what is proposed on the west side. To Clint and to David, I was actually hit by a car on a bike on Southwest Broadway 21 years ago. I'm familiar with the challenges cycling there before and after. I'm not sure the protective steps we've taken on Broadway since then would have prevented that accident. It was a left turn, they weren't paying attention, and and to be more technical, I think I ran into them because they didn't see me and they cut right in front of me. But it was painful, it wasn't fun, it could have been more serious. And so I'm familiar with the concerns you're raising. I just want to acknowledge that, we were addressing some other important transportation pieces here. And I do hope there's some space for the discussion about what might occur on Southwest.
Of course, thank you.
And that completes testimony.
That completes testimony. Okay. Any further discussion from my colleagues?
Oh, thank you, Council President Rubio. Commissioner Mapps, this is exciting. I think the fruits of your labor when you went to Washington earlier in the year and aligning with the federal delegation, my hunch is that was all connected to what we're hearing today.
Absolutely, although I have to credit a broad range of folks at PBOT and our regional partners, and it was great to see the state at the table too.
So I think two things are in my head that I want to be transparent about. One is, as we all know, or maybe I should just speak for myself. So I spent a couple hours out in Southeast Division, where we've heard consistent complaints about all the upgrades there. I've experienced it myself. They didn't make up any stories. Doing a U-turn out there doesn't work. Like you run into the curb, the new curb. And it's kind of terrifying when you have to put your car in reverse as the other cars are coming down fast. So that's a little terrifying. That doesn't help with safety. I'm sure there's been accidents out in that area because of this. We spent a lot of money on that. And so I'm just going to make sure that we don't repeat those mistakes because that could have been avoided, correct? So what are we doing, I guess, on the 82nd work to make sure that we don't repeat any mistakes that we made on Southeast Division? This does nothing to discredit the good work for pedestrians and for the buses. It just seems like that design needs some improvement.
Sure. Well, Commissioner Ryan, I very much appreciate your question and your observations on this space. I think some background and context really matter on 82nd in particular. So this used to be a state highway. We took it over because of the very concerning safety record that we have out there. The state, frankly, I think, failed the people of Portland in terms of doing basic maintenance in that space. As part of that transfer deal, we are obliged to put in about $35 million in various street improvements. And there is a really robust community process to figure out what those are looking like. We've been out there doing community meetings. It's actually, I think, a real model for what democracy in Portland looks like. This is very much a community-led, multi-bureau slash intergovernmental planning process. So I would say we are still developing our final plans here, but the plans that we're developing in close conversation and partnership with both our partners over at TriMet, local community leaders, especially if I recall correctly, Apano's very much at the table. We've had 4 or 5 community meetings at this point in terms of this. And one of the things I can definitely do is get you a briefing on where those community engagement and planning processes stand at this moment.
No, I appreciate hearing all that. I know that there was I would probably have heard back if I would watch a city council meeting prior to the work on Southeast Division that maybe something similar was said. When you talk to the small business owners along there, which I'm sure you have as well, they would say that there wasn't very good, robust communication, and many of them were caught off guard by the actual construction and then the safety concerns they're experiencing and the loss of revenue they've experienced because of the danger for a lot of their clients who want to still drive. So I just wanted to hear a little bit more about how we're learning. Life is about admitting mistakes, and everyone makes them, and learning from them as we move forward.
Sure. Well, Commissioner Ryan, I very much appreciate the question, and I think some of the testimony we've heard today, I think both in comms and on this item in particular, I think illustrate the challenge of building multimodal infrastructure. But me as the commissioner in charge of the Bureau of Transportation, my fundamental mission is to help people get to where they want to go, whether that means you want to get there on a bike or get there on a foot or get there in a car or get there in a bus. And it's hard to please everybody. I think one of the pushback that we're hearing today is illustrative of the fact that just with transportation, just as I do with water and just as I do with sewer, anytime I install something, I evaluate it, and if it's not working, we go back in and try to fine tune it. I would much rather get the final design as perfect as possible before we break ground. And one of the ways we do that is by having close conversations with our colleagues in the community and our engineers, both at PBOT in the private sector and often at the state and regional sector too. So we're having a robust conversation. I know when we don't get it right, we actually wind up with a lot of frustrations. I'm sure each one of your offices have heard frustrations from local residents, bike riders, car drivers who all feel like we haven't gotten the balance right here. I've learned from that partly because those calls come to me first, also because I fully recognize that this is a life-critical system that I'm building here. At this point, we have had dozens and dozens and dozens of car deaths in the Portland metro area. One of my top priorities is to make sure that is not what the future of Portland looks like. And I'm deeply committed to being both responsive to public needs while also prioritizing public safety.
Okay, I think that means that you'll be doing a lot of robust outreach with the small businesses along there and not repeat the mistakes that we've made on Southeast Division. Absolutely, and I'll tell you, speaking of small business, I think particularly with the Lower Albina project, this is really exciting. We're taking a neighborhood which was once vital and now has become a little bit of a desert because of our transportation infrastructure. I think
like we can revitalize that, create some opportunities for economic development, and really, I think this is going to be one of Portland's next great neighborhoods. It's going to be a great place to live. It's going to be a great place to start a business. It really represents Portland of the future, and it's very much rooted in Portland of the past. It's one of the things that really makes me excited about
I
that.
was talking about 82nd. But
Sure.
Then what I heard today was two presentations. There's two grants and what the focus, although when you looked at the map, it looked more than just 82nd and the Albina district. Is that true?
Commissioner Ryan, maybe I can help you here. So PBOT is putting together. Yeah, of
I
course.
think this might help. So what I wanted to get to is that these aren't going to be competitive. And of course, we want to win. We don't want to leave money on the table. It looks like there's a lot of alignment with the delegation. Do we prioritize? Is one a priority over the other? Does that happen in this world? I mean, I've written a lot of grants in my life, and I know those are tough decisions. I'm just thinking out loud with all of you.
Commissioner Reagan, as the commissioner.
Thanks for letting me finish my question.
Sure, absolutely. I appreciate that question. We got representatives from the state here, and I think we have a number of different jurisdictions that put together various transportation proposals. I think it would be transformative for Portland if the federal government funded all of them, but if they had to choose, they should really choose the PBOT projects. They're going to make 82nd safer. They're going to connect Lower Albina. The stuff that we'd like to do in the Rose Quarter is very important too, and I'm committed to getting that done. But as the commissioner in charge of PBOT, if we had to choose, I would say let's choose the PBOT projects.
Okay, that's what I was asking. There's two of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you're prioritizing, which is a wonderful thing to say, both of them. So there's no answer that we're sequencing.
Well, in the overall proposal, there were, I think in the map that you might be referring to, we highlighted both the.
And then there were other, on the map.
Yeah, the other ones. So
those weren't discussed.
Yeah.
You want me to say anything here?
Yeah, go ahead, help us out.
So I think one of the reasons we feel comfortable proposing two grants, which is
Yeah.
an unusual decision, is because of the unprecedented amount of money. We expected this money, this $3 billion, to roll out over a 5-year transportation bill authorization process.
Is this part of the Infrastructure Act?
Yes.
Okay.
And both Infrastructure Act and the bill, so two different acts that have been combined into one offering. $3 billion is actually in the bill, so in the climate bill that passed. And we expected it to come out over 5 years. And we thought we'd apply for one this year and one next year and one the year after and just keep it rolling. But with the USDOT's decision to push all of this money out in one cycle, we think the circumstances are a bit unusual and their decision-making could allow us to actually be successful at 2 grant applications.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thanks. That's exciting.
Two minor questions. I'm not sure if this is to Commissioner Mapps or to the PBOT team, and I am sensitive this is going to be a long day, so maybe we don't need to go deep on this right now. But if simple, high level, when I'm looking at the 82nd, what's laid out, it sort of begs the question, what is our current philosophy on greenways? And particularly going across these main arteries, I've been living on the east side since 2002, and I think I always loved our greenways, but then it sort of seemed to have gone out of, vogue for a little while in terms of transportation, philosophy. And if you were to sort of summarize, where are we right now in thinking about greenways going forward?
I'm going to kick that one over to staff.
I'm happy to talk about our Greenway philosophy, and I think it would be wonderful to have a briefing with you separately on our Greenway plan. So PBOT does have volume targets of which we want to keep our greenways under, and we are actively working with community, with Commissioner Mapps, to reinforce those greenways with either temporary measures, the barrels and signs, or more permanent diverters or other speed bumps, other mitigation measures. And that's what we'd be talking about on Alberta, is using some of the signage, some of the speed bumps, some of the speed control, and volume management measures we can do to make those greenways more welcoming.
And how does that carry over to so on the map we saw a lot about walking to get across the 82nd, but how does that carry over to crossing 82nd on a bicycle? So, so with that greenway is coming up, but I'm trying to visualize what that's going to look like.
Where there's a greenway crossing, we try to have a 5-lane arterial. We try to have a signalized crossing, so whether that's a full traffic signal, a rapid flash beacon, but a safe way to cross that street.
Okay.
So that's a focus of the Greenway program. A focus is on the Greenway experience itself and how people walking and biking are interfacing with vehicle traffic, and then particularly on how we reinforce the crossings of arterials for the greenways, because if we want people to use greenways as a way to get to destinations, they need to be able to cross those arterials. And so we would be looking at a rapid flash beacon or a half or full signal at that location, depending on the engineering decisions.
Got it. So last question on 82nd. I mean, one of our challenges on the east side as you go east, right, is how you go north-south sometimes. And that's just where you're talking public transit or bicycle. It just depends on where you are in the city. But that north-south can be a challenge. So what right now is the thinking with respect to the area immediately around 82nd for north-south bicycle transit, for example? Walking is a little different, public transit is a little different in this question, but at least for cycling.
Yeah, we've been looking at that very question. 82nd is a very constrained corridor. So we are looking at the parallel Greenway network in the 70s, 80s, and 90s as ways to provide a solid north-south connection that allows that north-south route. You're exactly right. The north-south connections for cycling are difficult in our grid pattern. So reinforcing that Greenway network is one of the ways we can try to provide good routes.
I'd love if you could send my office some stuff on that.
Super happy
kind
to
of
do that.
would like to rekindle that. And then on Albina, just real basic question. I was curious if we've thought about any truly pedestrian streets. I mean, is that even a possibility? I recognize the need to reconnect streets that were disrupted by, but I was just, it's a brand new opportunity in a way with respect to cap space, and I, just sort of curious what you've batted around at this point.
I'm gonna invite Caitlin to talk about that.
Sure. That's a great question, and I do think that there's more planning and project development work that will be done in advance of construction. We have funding right now for that was awarded last year for Reconnecting Communities Planning Grant, which we're partnered with Albina Vision Trust on, really looking at opportunities through the area with a street framework plan. So we'll very much be looking at all the streets and putting together kind of project proposals for what improvements could take place to make those key connections.
I swear this is the last question. So right now, does PBOT at this time even have a concept of what like a pedestrian-only street would look like? I mean, is that even in the tool in the toolbox right now?
I'm trying to think I'm not sure if we have a design standard for pedestrian-only streets. We have design standards for Woonards, which are like curbless streets that are shared spaces. Mm-hmm. I'm looking back at my smarter colleagues behind me. Do we have a design standard for a pedestrian-only street rather than a festival street?
We have a number of examples.
Yeah. So we'd be happy to follow up with you with some, and again, in our space activation program, which is part of the division that I manage, we're looking at ways to do that on a more temporary basis as well, and activating those kinds of spaces through plazas. So I think about a pedestrian-only street versus a plaza space, which we certainly are working on, and we'll be coming to council with some final recommendations for what those design standards should look like in a more permanent sense later this fall.
Yeah, and I certainly defer to the people that will be driving that in the community. It's a unique opportunity when we're capping to think, a little bit differently about what we could be doing, and some pedestrian areas might be really cool in the city. So, anyways, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing up greenways. And while you're here, I just wanted to let you know, when I listened to the small business owners, it was one of the more fascinating 2-hour field trips I've had since I've been on council. And they did walk me to the one block away from Division where they said could be like the perfect greenway, which seems like if I was a bicyclist in that area, that would be safer and even more enjoyable, less exhaustion coming up. And I know like in my neighborhood, I haven't used the road that's designated as a greenway in my car for a long time. You go around it to the next block over. So I think I'm not alone in Portlanders respecting greenways for bicycle focus, and I think we have a different antenna for safety as opposed to when we're going really fast on one of the expressways that moves goods and services. So my point is, are we looking at greenways even out in next to Division as maybe a way to modify that someday?
Our Greenway plan includes a citywide network, and there's a robust Greenway network that we are working to invest in East Portland and have made a number of investment in recent years.
I think what we've always struggled with in Portland is commingling everything on one street, and it's not safe. And so I really hope that we continue to look for safer routes for everyone, for pedestrians and for bicyclists especially. And sometimes putting them right next to big cars and trucks moving fast just doesn't work. And so how can we keep thinking out of the box to create those sacred spaces? So anyway, thanks.
Commissioner Maps?
I just wanted to take a moment to express my appreciation for the rich conversation that we have had this afternoon about the challenges that come with building a transportation network that helps people get to where they want to go. It's particularly important to have this conversation because, you know, PBOT has a $4 billion maintenance backlog. And frankly, colleagues, in the coming days, I will be meeting with your chiefs of staff to talk about the $34 million I need to cut from the PBOT budget in the coming fiscal year, which is also why this particular ordinance before us today is so important. Frankly, this grant is perhaps unique in my 2.5 years on council in that it does not require a local match. Most of the things that we build require us to reach into our own budgets to fund transportation improvements. This is, frankly, and to be blunt, free money, which the city of Portland desperately needs. And we are already committed, frankly, to making improvements on 82nd. So this is really a way to, frankly, begin to balance our budget. If we get the 82nd grant, that will, frankly, be transformative for the Bureau. And if we get the grant for the Lower Albina project, that will be transformative for the city, all without burdening PBOT's already beleaguered budget, which is one of the reasons why I am so proud of staff and our partners at the state for working with us to bring this ordinance before you today. So I thank everyone who made this moment possible, and I have should we choose to move forward with these grant proposals, I have my fingers crossed that the federal government and the Secretary of Transportation and the Biden administration look favorably upon the people of Portland. Thank you.
Great. Okay to move forward now? Any more discussion? Great. Can we call the roll?
Yes. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Thank you, staff. That was great presentation. I like that you brought partners in. The testimony was really helpful. I thought the dialogue was really important, that we looked at the big picture. All of us want realistic safety infrastructure so that more and more people feel safe to get out of their cars and use whatever arterial we can put together so it's actually safe for pedestrians and for bicycles. Let's hope we get both of these grants. Let's not leave money on the table. I vote aye.
Rubio.
I want to thank Commissioner Maps for bringing this forward, as well as the great work of PBOT staff for bringing these applications to council. I also want to appreciate the testimony today, which raised really important points around our investments and their longevity and safety, and I look forward to learning more in the upcoming discussions. These are really important projects, and they're important to the community, and I hope that we're successful in receiving the funding moving forward. So I vote aye, and with that, the ordinance is adopted. And so thanks, everybody, and next item.
Item 796, amend the local improvement district boundary and create a new assessment zone for the Northeast 46th Avenue and Bryant Street Local Improvement District to construct stormwater improvements on Northeast 42nd Avenue and on Northeast Columbia Boulevard.
Since this is a second reading, if there's no further discussion, we can please call the roll.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
I want to thank Daniel Jenkins of BES for his work on this project. I also want to recognize Emily Volpert at BES for her outreach to stakeholders in this area. And of course, I want to thank Andrew Abbey, our local improvement district administrator for PBOT, for his tireless effort to improve the city's infrastructure. For these reasons and more, I vote aye.
Ryan.
Yes, there's Andrew. Hello, Andrew. Good presentation last week. I vote aye.
Rubio.
Thank you, Andrew and Daniel, for your work on this, and to Commissioner Maps for bringing this amendment forward. It's a great model for us to replicate moving forward. I vote aye. With that, the ordinance is adopted and we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.